Monday, the 13th of April. Remember that this is not about 3 tips for back pain or 3 tips for knee pain. You can get that. You can get that from us elsewhere. This is answering the questions and statements from me that I believe that people are struggling with that don't necessarily speak about and are keeping them up at night. Um, I've uncovered some learnings that I personally have gone through over the last week that I want to go through, and then we're going to answer a couple of those questions that have come in either via email, through patients in the clinic, or via Instagram. So if you want to get a question answered, please leave it in the comments or send it to us via Instagram or email at info@activemotion.uk. But we've got a lot going on over April. I also have just come back from Miami where I traveled with my dad for the first time ever, just me and him. The longest we've ever spent together, just the two of us. And there's been quite a few learnings that have come out of that, which I want to go through first before we head on into some of the other questions that come in and things that I want to talk about today. So, put it into context. My dad and I never spent more than 24 hours, just the two of us. He worked abroad throughout the week, and then at weekends it was family time, other than when I was competing. So it is the longest time we've ever spent together, just the two of us. It's the only time that we have ever traveled, just the two of us. So we flew to Miami on Tuesday morning. We spent 10 hours on a flight because we were delayed in the air, circling, trying to land because of wind. We then spent Tuesday through, we got home yesterday, landed at 7 o'clock in the morning, got home by 10:30. So we spent the whole week together, which was really, really cool. And something I would definitely look to do again at some point. So, what did I learn out of all of that? Well, firstly, I learned about the relationship with my dad and learned a lot of things there. But I learned one massive key takeaway and a couple of smaller key takeaways. The one massive key takeaway is you can't do any of the activities that you want to be doing when you go away, or you can't experience, let's put it that way, the things that you want to experience if you don't have your health, right? My dad's 67. He went stride for stride with me the whole time we were away, and we did not stop. So on day one, we did 35,000 steps, not out of choice, but just because we wanted to do these experiences and activities, and that led us to being on our feet all day. And when I mean being on our feet all day, we were on our feet all day. We went on an open bus tour around Miami where we stopped off and we walked at different points. It rained for 2 out of the 4 days that we were there, but it didn't stop us getting out and about. We walked down Miami Beach. We went on the rest of the tour, but then when the sun came out, we wanted to be active. So we went for a run. We went for a run outside. My dad enjoys running. We then came back from that and went to a Miami Marlins game. So we took the bus to, because we had our tour, we took the bus to near enough to where the stadium was, but it was a 20-minute walk from there. We then were at the stadium, came out of the stadium after the game, and it chucked it down with rain. But all the roads were closed because they didn't want too much traffic near the stadium with all the people pouring out. So we ended up running back to the hotel because it was chucking it down. It would have taken an extra 10-15 minutes for the Uber to get there. And so we ran back to the hotel, which ended up being a 35-minute run in the rain. Something I'll never forget doing with my dad. But we were in the gym earlier that day as well. So he was fully active. He went stride for stride with me the whole trip. And none of those experiences would have been the same if we didn't have our health. Like, don't get me wrong, we have our aches and pains. I have my knee degeneration, but he has a couple of issues going on. But he was able to stride for stride do everything he wanted to do and experience. And we had a question come in uh, from a patient that said, I have a holiday coming up and I'm scared I won't be able to do the things that I want to, or even go just because I'm not mobile enough. Pre going away, my dad has either run or been in the gym for the last 3 years. And don't get me wrong, you don't have to be in a gym to be mobile and strong. I've talked about that many times. You can build strength from home just doing the right activities, tasks, and training plan for you with the right structure. But it's the consistency behind that which allows him to then do the activities he wants to do. And one of those was to travel with me when I went to Miami. They're going. My parents are going away a couple of times this year. One of those being a cruise on the Nile, and neither of my parents would be able to do that if they didn't have their mobility, their strength, their independence, and overall their health. Right. And what that comes down to is priorities. They prioritize being active in order to stay mobile, to do the activities they want to do. And I open that up to experiences, right? Can't do, if you're not mobile enough and you're not strong enough, you won't be able to experience the things you want to experience. So whether that is looking after your grandkids, there's the London Landmarks run today, doing things like that, right? London Marathon's coming up. My dad's completed the London Marathon um, around about 8 years ago. So he was plus 50 when he completed the London Marathon. You have to be prioritizing your mobility and your strength. And that comes down to planning things into your diary, right? If you don't plan the activities in, it's not going to happen because you'll do it at a time when you're free. We're not really ever free to make added time. Things will crop up along the way, and I can assure you it's not prioritizing your health and fitness. If your boiler went, you would phone to get it sorted, but your mobility goes and we don't prioritize anything to do with it. So I would be looking to structure things into my diary. And this leads into something else I wanted to talk about in terms of somebody said to me recently, I just can't adhere to doing my exercise regime. That leads to priorities, number one, but it also leads to, is it achievable and is it fun? Is it simple enough into your routine that it's achievable? Is it simple enough that it doesn't require a lot of equipment? Is it simple enough that it's enjoyable and therefore sustainable? Okay. And I've had to really change my mindset around this because I used to love being in the gym. I don't really enjoy being in the gym anymore. But I changed my mindset from training for aesthetics to training for function. And training for function is simpler and requires less equipment, but my goal is stronger, that I can pick up my kids if they ever needed me to from a safety aspect. I can run to get them if I ever needed to. And I follow that line. That keeps me adherent to my goal and consistent with my training so that I can do those things for as long as I possibly can do or want to be able to do it. Right? And it's the same thing. Finding the goal, I want to be able to do these experiences, and being able to do those things is all about priorities. And yes, you might not be there now, hence why it's a goal. It might be that it takes you 3, 6, 9 months of being consistent, delayed gratification, you don't see the instant reward, and then later on in time, things start to change. You feel more mobile, you get stronger, and you move better, right? Things aren't going to happen as you things aren't going to happen as you immediately do exercise and strengthening, right? You are going to take time to build the foundations of your mobility and strength in order to be able to um, do the things that you want to be doing, right? And if you don't and you're already declining, where will you be in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Okay. I can fully imagine being on a trip with my dad again in 5 years, being on a trip with my dad again in 10 years because he's strong and mobile. And I don't see that changing if he sticks to the routines that he has in place. Okay. That routine and exercise stuff leads into a question that came through that's been keeping somebody up at night. And that is, what if I become a burden to my family? Well, nobody really talks about it, I don't believe, and I don't think anybody asks that question out loud to anybody that's around them or to people like me, a therapist that physically helps with aches and pains, mobility, strength, and independence. That question is not discussed enough or asked enough because people are fearful of A, the question itself, B, the answer that comes, and they don't want to accept that it might actually be a problem. or they think they're going to be laughed at by their friends, family as a result of asking that question. And I think it's a brilliant question. Like I say, doesn't get asked enough. My first answer to that question, or is it is a it's a follow up question, is what are you doing in your day to day that leads to not becoming a burden? What I mean by that is there's a lot. I watch a lot of content from certain people higher up than me in the business world. Let's put it that way, and they say, "Show me your bank balance, and I'll be able to tell you where your life is going." And what they mean by that is what you're spending on. Does it relate to where you want to go financially, for example? So I'm going to use the same example. Show me your day to day routines, and I will show you where your mobility and strength is and where it could be. Are you spending 15, 20 minutes a day proactively focusing on your strength, your mobility, your balance, and therefore your independence? Yes or no? That's the question there, right? If you are, great. You're probably 50% further forwards than most. Okay. If you're not, that's where your start point is. Okay. Start, get into a routine, and then we can narrow down what you should be doing for you as an individual. But if you've not got the routine in place, there's no point being really strategic because you're not going to be doing it anyway. So then when you can be strategic, it's are you strengthening the right muscle groups for you for the function that you want to get back to being able to do? Okay. So for example, if you want to be able to get up from the floor, you need to be prioritizing your strength and mobility of your lower body rather than your upper body. If you want to be able to carry your grandkids, then it's an all body experience, but you also need the strength in your upper body to lift them up from the ground and maintain holding them for a long period of time. Okay. Use this example. My dad and I played golf in Miami. Unfortunately, he won. That's a whole nother conversation. But he has good rotationary mobility. He can carry a golf bag. He can walk 18 holes. So what's he got to do there? He's got to prioritize his spinal and hip mobility. He's got to prioritize his strength in his lower body to be able to lift a golf bag using his legs. And then he has to prioritize his endurance ability to be able to walk the 18 holes of golf. That then didn't mean he wasn't able to do anything the next day. He was continually then still active. We went in the gym and he prioritized his strength and mobility so that he could still do this cycle of the experiences that he wanted to do. So it comes down to what are you doing now consistently affects your next 3, 6, 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Okay. And you won't become a burden to your family if you're prioritizing those things. Now, what I would also do, and I suggest the patients to do, is I would speak to my family, not necessarily saying, I don't want to become a burden to you. I would be saying, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z. I want to be better at walking independently. I want to be better at balancing. I want to reduce down my risk of falls. They don't need to know so you don't become a burden. They just need to know this is what I want to achieve. Then I would say, I have a plan, but I want you to support this. I don't want you to laugh at me while I do my exercises. I don't want you to laugh at me if I ask you a question. I don't want you to criticize me for spending money, time, energy on doing this. They don't know it, but they'll thank you for it in the future when they don't have to be looking after you or taking you to hospital or whatever. Okay, so that's what I would be doing, and I discuss with my patients of look, you're only as good as the supportive network around you. You need to solidify your network that are going to support you. If they're not, then don't let them be part of the process or take advice from them. Okay. You need to be able to confidently have people around you that if you ask, could you help me do this exercise? Or you could do it in front of them comfortably. That's where you need to be. Okay. You need to be in a environment where you can grow, not an environment where you can stay stuck. Now, that's very, very difficult if your partner doesn't want to do the same things as you. What they might need is some inspiration and shown that you're doing it You've got consistent. Here's the changes that you've made. Now I can do something about it. We see this with patients all the time, right? We have one member of the family come and see us and get treated and see the improvement that they've had. Now we see some more of the family because they've seen that somebody else has done it and achieved it. Sometimes some people need a example of how things could improve. And sometimes that's got to be you to be that first person to do it. Now, if you want to say to your family, I don't want to be a burden anymore, I'm going to do this, I'm sure that they'll be very positive about it. They'll say you're not a burden, but you know full well that you're not maybe as independent as you would like to be, or they have to do more for you than you would like them to have to do. Okay. So you don't have to become a burden. You need to be investing your time structured 20 minutes a day. That's all it needs to be every day to be getting stronger, more mobile, and securing your independence so you don't become a burden. Okay. The one for me there personally, again, like most people look at me and go, "You have your independence. You're not going to be a burden," right? But I train for a different reason. But getting consistent is the key. When I first got back into doing exercise, I didn't strategically go, I need to be doing this muscle group, and this muscle group. I went, I need to be doing something for 20 minutes every day so I get consistent. Now I'm more consistent. I can narrow down what I need to do. I have the skill set to do that, obviously. You might not, which is absolutely fine. There are people out there, myself included, that are able to create structured, tailored plans to help you strengthen and therefore thrive and improve the quality of your life. You don't have to do it alone. However, you do need to be consistent and adherent to your exercise program. And it helps if it's simple, easy, fun, and requires not a lot of equipment, which I mentioned earlier. Now, we have some exciting things going on this month. In the clinic, it's our 5th anniversary of the clinic being in the formation that it currently is in. So it's our 5th year, 5th anniversary. We have some fun spinner activities in the clinic for you to win some cool giveaways, as well as some discounted appointments and other fun stuff. We have our free educational classes. We have 3 of them. We have 2 this Saturday, one in our Salisbury clinic, one in our Reese clinic. They will both be done live on Facebook. Follow Active Motion or Jordan Sahota for those live free educational classes all about back pain and sciatica. If you want a physical place, let us know. They start at 10 o'clock. Send us an email to info@activemotion.uk and we'll get all the details sent out to you. I think our Salisbury one is actually full up. We have some free one-to-one sessions that we can offer you instead. Then we have one in Portsmouth on Wednesday, the 22nd of April. Not this Wednesday, next Wednesday. Again, this is a back pain and sciatica free educational class. That will take place at 6:30 p.m. In Portsmouth. It's not at our actual clinic, which I'm sat in right now. It's round the corner at a place called Gatcombe House. Free parking, nice venue. Again, if you want a seat at that, let us know. Send an email to info@activemotion.uk and we can get that all sorted. I'll be back on Thursday for another edition of the Honesty Hour. So if you have any questions, let me know. We can get those answered on a live call for you. I am then here next week, the week after I go back out to America to Los Angeles this time for a conference that I'm very excited about. We've just been nominated for an award while we're out there, which is really, really cool, and more on that as we move forwards. But it's a very, very busy month for me. Obviously, just been away, going to be going away again. We've got 3 educational classes and the clinics running, but we will not miss these. There'll be one on Thursday at 2 o'clock. There'll be one on Monday at 2 o'clock, and we roll that schedule. Even when I'm away in LA, I will be doing the call, hopefully again at 2 o'clock UK time, because it's kind of the consistent time that we've been running it. We'll see what happens with that, and maybe we have a very cool background because we'll be in LA. What do you think? But that's enough from me. Unless there's any last minute questions, I will hang on for 2 seconds. Get your questions in if you want to ask something before I shoot. Otherwise, you have to wait till Thursday. No, cool. Right. That's the end of the honesty hour, and I will see you all on Thursday.